Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today we're looking at this. It's the PJD Guitars York Standard. Now, PJD Guitars are based in the city of York in England, UK, and that's where their small team hand builds all of their guitars. The York is the newest of their 4 or 5 different models that they offer, and the Standard is the most affordable, coming in at £1,299 Great British pounds, which is about $1,500 or 1,500 euros. And you can add different options, different color schemes, and big Bs and stuff like that to make them more expensive before you go up to their elite, more luxurious ranges with different tone woods and so on. So you can see from the York straight off that it kind of looks like it has a bit of Telecaster DNA in it, but it has a lot of its own twists going on too. And what I want to do in this video is take you through this guitar in detail. I'll tell you about the specs and all of the features that we've got here. Then I'm going to play it for you in as many different musical styles as I can manage. And afterwards, I will give you a few of my more in-depth opinions and thoughts about this instrument, having played it a lot since I've had it on loan from PJD to make this video. So let's go first into those specs and features then. And the first thing that you're going to notice is that it kind of looks a little bit like a Telecaster in a way, but with a lot of different stuff going on. But you've most obviously got these 2 Tele type pickups and a Tele type ashtray bridge there, along with the traditional Tele style control plate and control layout as well. But that's kind of where it ends. If you look at the rest of the body, you can see that we've actually got a double cutaway here. We've got a lovely traditional 3-tone sunburst finish on this one, and the body of this guitar is solid obeche, and we have an open pore satin nitro cellulose finish here as well. So a really nice looking guitar, and I really think that the 3-tone sunburst goes very well with this maple fingerboard. Now, like I said, the Tele sort of bits are here on the front. We've got 2 PJD house wound pickups. They're their high T models, both single coils, and we've got this ashtray bridge. This is a Gotoh In-Tune bridge with brass saddles, so classic Tele fixtures ahoy. Over to the control plate then, we've got a 3-way selector switch, a master volume and a master tone control. Now we've got CTS and Switchcraft electronics and jack inputs and so on this guitar, so all of the highest end stuff that you can get. And the Tele-esque body is kind of rounded out and given a few contours here. You can see that we've got a big tummy cut on the back, we've got great upper fret access via the double cutaway, and we've got really nice smoothed rounded edges across the guitar. So it's a really modern feeling sort of a take on a Tele in that respect. A mixture of the traditional and the innovative, one might say. But moving up to the neck, and we have that aforementioned maple fingerboard here and a nitro finished satin maple neck too. And this guitar's been plecked, by the way, as well, so you can factor that into the price too, along with the very decent padded gig bag that this guitar also comes with. So very much decent value for money when you consider that this guitar was handcrafted by a small team of expert luthiers in England. Anyway, 22 Anyway, 22 Jescar nickel frets on this guitar, and we've got what feel like lovely rounded and rolled off fingerboard edges as well. We've got a 25.5-inch scale length, so Fender scale length as well, a 42mm bone nut, and this specific model has a really nice standard C-shaped neck, feels lovely in the hand, with a 10-inch fingerboard radius. Moving up to the headstock, you can see that we've got that rather nice PJD logo, and we've got 6-in-line vintage style Gotoh tuners as well. So this is the PJD Guitars York Standard then, and what we're going to do next is hear it in as many different musical styles as I possibly can. I'll be using my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200 amplifier, some of its different channels, and a couple of my favourite overdrive and distortion pedals to get us as many different tones and as much versatility from these PJD pickups as possible. We'll go from the pristinest of cleans all the way through to some down-tuned modern metal. Timestamps to all the different musical genres played will be in the description and comments should you wish to skip around to the parts that float your particular musical boat. But enough talk, let's play the PJD Guitars York Standard now, and we'll speak in a bit more detail about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the PJD Guitars York Standard, and I hope you enjoyed the playing and the tones. Would love to hear your thoughts, so leave me a comment down there telling me what you think about this guitar. But this is one that I was very, very excited to try in earnest and in full detail and in depth with my own setup. I originally got to play a pre-production York in a really nice shade of pink, by the way, in a video I did at 42 Gear Street in the summer of 2023. That was with Karsten Stepanovic, a good friend of mine, and I'll link to that one there if you'd like to just see that pink York in action while we blind tested some overdrive pedals. But anyway, I'd really wanted to try this one ever since then because I love Tele type guitars as well, as you know if you watch my channel. And finally, here we have a production York Standard model for me to test in detail. And there's a lot to talk about with this guitar, so what I'm going to do now is give you a few more of my in-depth opinions about it and whether or not I think it might be worth your money at the end of the day in comparison to the other T-type models that are out there. So we'll start with my first impressions of the guitar then when I received it. Well, as with every PJD guitar, it came packed in a really nice decent quality box and I wasn't worried about it being posted to me, and there's a really nice solid chunky padded gig bag that comes with it too, so no problems there. On taking it out of the bag, I took in this 3-tone sunburst finish, which I really like, and I think it fits really well with that maple neck, and straight away again I was able to notice that another newish PJD guitar has a fantastic weight. I really like my lightweight guitars, and this one weighs in at 2.99 kilograms, which is about 6 pounds 9. So really nice and lightweight without feeling like a toy, and it balances really nicely on a strap or on your lap when you're sat down to play as well. So really nice in that regard. It's not quite as light as the St. John Standard I had last year and actually ended up purchasing from PJD though. That guitar was about 2.7 kilograms, which I think is about just under 6.5 pounds. So really nice lightweight guitars. And if lighter guitars are your thing, then definitely consider trying one of these if you ever get the chance, because they're a joy for someone like me who likes to go below 7 pounds if I can. So those were my first impressions of the guitar, very positive. And on getting it out of the bag, I began to inspect it a bit more and look at the build quality of it. And well, it's like every other PJD guitar that I've tried, immaculate in every respect basically. No problems whatsoever with anything like the finish or the build or the setup, the intonation. This guitar's been plecked, as I mentioned in the intro, and it just felt great immediately. In terms of this maple neck, lovely smooth feel to it, and we've got great names when it comes to the hardware. CTS, Switchcraft, Gotoh tuners, Gotoh bridge as well, and we've got these PJD in-house pickups. Everything is top notch, no complaints whatsoever with the build quality. And then I plugged in and started to play the York, and immediately I got that beautiful PJD Guitars neck profile that I know and love from all the other PJD guitars that I've tried in the past. Just a fantastic feeling neck, really feels like home to me in my hand, really slinky, really smooth and easy to get up and down. I really like their neck profile. Now in terms of the body of the York, that's an interesting thing as well. It's quite small, it's quite thinnish feeling, and it's got lovely rounded edges and body contours as well. So it doesn't really feel that much like a Telecaster. It's actually really ergonomic and comfortable. Now I love Teles and their slab bodies with their sharp edges. That's just something I've got used to over the decades of playing, but the York really is a comfortable affair. Lovely rounded edges, great upper fret access too if that's your thing, and this tummy cut here on the back. It's a really comfortable instrument to hold and feels fantastic. And of course with that weight, I could imagine playing long gigs would be absolutely no problem with this guitar whatsoever. Couple that with this wonderful neck and you've got a guitar that scores extremely highly in the playability stakes. But the other key thing of course is how does it sound? Now we're going to be expecting Telecaster style tones from these pickups based on the way that they look, and well, these pickups are PJD's high T model, which is a take on the Telecaster style of pickup, and they do sound to me like a great vintagey sort of Telecaster should. Nice low output, especially on the neck pickup, maybe a little bit scooped when it comes to clean sounds, but it just sounds like a decent Tele should. On the clean channel I found that I was getting lovely meaty tones from the bridge pickup and lovely sparkly sounds for arpeggios and funky playing when I used both pickups together, middle pickup selector setting. Really nice, perfect for noodling. Lovely and crisp when you need them for spanky country tones with a lot of aggression, but also lovely and warm on the neck pickup as well for jazzy sort of chords and arpeggios as well. So a great guitar for clean sounds. And when we added in some overdrive, either on the crunch channel of the amp or with the Greer Lightspeed, well, again, classic Tele tones abounded for me. With the Greer Lightspeed, I got some great indie rock sounds, I thought, lovely, aggressive, but not too ice-picky or shrill tones on the bridge pickup, and really nice mixed pickup and neck pickup sounds as well. This guitar does anything that I would want it to in that regard. And on the crunch channel of the amp, we were more in Marshall sort of territory. Lovely, thick, mid-push tones with this guitar there. Sounded really, really nice, and fat for that, with bags of clarity as well. As we started to edge up the gain on the lead channel of the amplifier, you could hear that this guitar is really well suited to the likes of hard rock and glam rock and punk rock as well. Again, so much crispness and clarity that when you're chugging or playing power chords, that kind of thing, it works really, really well. This being a T-style pickup, you are starting to get a bit more noise into the equation on higher gain settings, but that's something that you're just going to have to learn to live with if you want these sorts of tones. And trust me, you want these sorts of tones. Now, I did think that when I went down to drop D and I turned on the Rev G3 distortion pedal, that perhaps we were going a bit too gainy with this guitar. It still sounded decent, and you get a load of clarity and precision if you're doing chugging and that kind of stuff, but you're probably going to gravitate more towards a high output humbucker for that kind of music anyway. But rest assured that the York Standard can do that kind of music, and it absolutely can do any style of music that I've played on it so far with aplomb. It's a fantastic sounding instrument, and I love these PJD high T pickups. That said though, I do think it would be really cool to try sticking a couple of other different pickup types into the York just to see how it handles it. Maybe something like a spanky P90 in the neck or something like that. That might be something that I would like to see PJD do in future, but in terms of the Tele style tones, 100% covered with this instrument. I'm really pleased with it. Now, if you've been watching this video though, and you're wondering what else is out there at this kind of price point, what are the options? Well, if you're looking for something like a Tele, there are just so many. For around 1,200, 1,300 British pounds or $1,500, $1,600 or euros, the world is your oyster. You can choose between so many different kinds of guitars. One thing that I would recommend that you do first though is take a look at the rest of the PJD Guitars lineup. For example, there are a number of different finishes available with the York. You can also get it with another finish over a Sunburst if you'd like to do that. You can get a Standard Plus model with a Bigsby, and well, the other PJD models that I've tried, the St. John, the Carey, the Woodford, they've all been fantastic, and there are many different options there. Take a look at the site, see what you think, and you never know, you might find something that you want to test. But if you're in the world of Teles, well, it's got to be Fender. That is the obvious competitor to PJD in this regard, and there are very many options. Now, for around this price point, you could try something like a used American Professional 2 model, for example, or a new American Performer model. Those are going to be American built, and there are going to be numerous different options there when it comes to fingerboard woods, when it comes to pickup types, and so on and so forth. There are very many Fender models under this one in terms of price point as well. Just recently, when I'm filming this video, Fender have released the Player 2 series of Mexican built guitars. Those are about 3/4 or 2/3 of the price of the York Standard. There are numerous Teles in that portfolio, and they look fantastic. I'm really looking forward to trying some of those too. And some of the slightly older Player Plus models, you could also test those out. Those are going to be a little bit more affordable than the York Standard too. But there are so many other brands making T-style guitars that really what you need to do is head down to the nearest dealer that you have near you, try out a bunch, hopefully including the PJD, and you'll find the one which works best for you. But I do have to say, I think that the York Standard sits and competes very well with any other guitar in this sort of area that I have tried. But for a couple out of the box suggestions, there are a couple more that you could try. Something like a Maybach Teleman is going to be a great option always. Now, a Teleman is going to be a bit more expensive than the York Standard, but every Maybach guitar that I've ever played has been great too. Just rest assured that if you're trying a Maybach, it's probably going to have a much chunkier neck than the PJD. And there are other brands making these sort of styles of guitars in a slightly more modern bent. Something from Ibanez might do a job, for example. Something like the FGN J Standard might work. And there are other brands like Gotoh In, for example, who are making instruments in this sort of a style. But really, when it comes to T-style instruments, there are so many. I do have to say though again that the PJD is up there with all of the ones that I have tried to date. And that's a pretty good conclusion to this video, I think. I'm a huge fan of the PJD Guitars York Standard, and I kind of want to keep this guitar as well. I've already got the St. John, that has a P90 and a humbucker in it, and this has these beautiful single coils in it, and I've got all the sounds I could ever want then from two PJD guitars. So I'm probably going to have a discussion with them at some point, but this is a wonderful instrument and I really, really like it. I love the way it looks, I love the way it sounds, I love the feel and the playability of this neck. I love these PJD pickups and the fact that I've got Gotoh hardware that I can rely on in the guitar as well. It's really nice and lightweight, so I could gig with it forever without doing my back in, and there's nothing bad to say about it. 1,299 British pounds, okay, it's not cheap, but this guitar is handmade in England by a small team of expert luthiers. This specific one is plecked as well, and it comes with a great gig bag. And I think when you account all of those factors into the price, well, it's pretty darn great value for money. At least that's my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this guitar and the rest of the PJD range, so leave me your thoughts and comments down there. And if there's any more questions that you have about the York Standard, well, let me know and I shall answer to the very best of my ability. And hey, if you're still around, it would really make my day if you wanted to give the video a like, or maybe even subscribe to my little channel, because that really helps. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich, and this has been the PJD Guitars York Standard, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.